Hey everyone, my name is Adam Barnes. This is a sample Qigong workshop. This video will probably be about half hour, 40 minutes long, but it can be expanded to fill greater amounts of time or can even be done a little bit quicker. We're going to spend a few minutes talking in the beginning about what Qigong is, some of the basics of it, some of the things to think about while you're practicing, how to practice, and just the general philosophy of the practice. And then we're going to do a few warm-up exercises and then right into the practice itself. The practice we'll be learning today is called Baduan Jing, and it's a combination of 8 different Qigong exercises done in succession. Qigong is a very relaxing, slow-moving practice. It's a meditative practice where we'll be linking breath to our movements in a slow, sometimes frustratingly slow fashion. So Qigong is an ancient Chinese practice. It translates roughly to energy practice, energy work, and it's similar to yoga in a lot of ways, but different than yoga in a lot of ways as well. So the first things we want to think about with Qigong are breath and energy. So we want to think about the ABCs. We have alignment, breath, and consciousness. These are the 3 kind of areas that we want to focus on while practicing. And there's a few things to think about from each one of those that I'll get into in a minute. One of the main things we want to keep in mind with Qigong is we're going to be practicing from a relaxed state. It's all about relaxation and how you can move from a relaxed state. So how we align our body and use our breath is important in establishing that relaxed state. So we're going to do a quick exercise here at the beginning to kind of illustrate this of how you can think about how you want your musculature to be while you're performing the practice. And this is a concept called sung, which means relax and sink. So find a comfortable way to stand, just with your feet a little bit more or hip width apart, and come to stillness with your hands just kind of at your side and your shoulders back a little. You can close your eyes for this. And now as you stand, just try to relax each piece, each muscle in your body. You don't have to do them in order, just as you feel tension, just try to relax it. Now, this is a visualization exercise. You're going to visualize yourself, pretend what it would feel like to be made of wax or butter, some meltable substance. And now picture the room that you're in is turned up just a few degrees too much. Not enough so you completely melt, but just enough that the wax kind of starts to relax off of its structure. That's how you want your body to feel. You can always relax a little bit more, and it's easy to do while standing. It's going to be more difficult to do when we're moving. But that's kind of a baseline for where we want to come from. There's 3 kind of preliminary postures that we're going to be doing. Just to illustrate these, we have a closed posture. We'll be standing just with our feet together and hands at our side. We have the open posture, which, as you might guess, is just feet a little bit wider than hip distance, and again, hands at your side. And then we have horse stance, which is kind of a squat down, kind of as far as you can do comfortably. If you're more flexible, you might be able to go farther and deeper, but for people that are less flexible, just a small lowering is acceptable. And we also have the energy clear that we'll be doing in between each one of the individual exercises, and that's just a simple rising of the hands and then bringing them back down to rest again at open posture. Don't worry if you don't remember all those right away. I'll be cueing these as we go. This is just meant as a little bit of a preview. So there's a few things we want to think about even when we're standing that we'll have to get started with. These are the alignment principles. So a good thing to kind of think is if you find the crown of your head, you can picture as if there's a string, like pulling up just from the crown. And if you don't know where the crown is, it's not quite like the kind of true north on the head. It's off to the back a little bit, kind of where the skull comes together, where the spine meets it basically, but just above that. So from there you can picture that string kind of just lifting you up and stretching your spine just a little. So what happens here is the crown comes up and the chin comes back just a little bit. This is just enough to kind of open that channel. We also want to tuck our tailbones slightly forward. A lot of people stand kind of too much curvature here with the tailbone kind of back. So we always want to bring that forward, just a little internal rotation to the front. So wherever you're standing, tuck it down just a little bit more. And you don't have to squat down and tuck. It's really just a forward rotation from this kind of small of your back. There should be some curvature there still. You don't need to be stiff as a board, but you just want to point the tailbone down and forward slightly. Your hands want to be slightly kind of puffed out at all times. So if you think of your fingers, you don't want to have your hands closed in a fist, but you also don't want to have them completely splayed. They should just be effortlessly open, kind of like if you were lightly holding onto a balloon. That would be about the character that your fingers have. Now, if you get the tucking of the tailbone and the lifting of the head correct, another good thing to mention and to remember is the balance of your knees. And this is the kind of trickiest one to get right. The goal is, as much as possible, to use the structure of your skeleton to support the weight rather than your muscles. This allows then for the kind of effortless movement of your figure instead of a more deliberate muscle-based movement. But in order to get to that flow, you have to first be able to use your skeleton properly. So it can be kind of challenging, but you want to have a slight bend to the knees and be planted firmly into your heels and balls of your feet. So then from here, you'll still be probably using a lot of muscle in your legs, and that's okay. It's best to be with your knees bent. You don't want to have them be locked out, but as much as you can, try to relax into your quads and into the calves. So this will allow us kind of a way to stand and let our weight hang off of ourselves. And from the side, you can kind of see, and you're going to want your shoulders to be back ever slightly too. Like, you can imagine that there's 3 different hooks. You know, if you're slouching forward, they're on the first hook. If you're kind of puffing your chest out, you're on the back hook. You want them to be kind of naturally resting on the middle hook. But for a lot of people, that will feel like you're pulling them back a little bit, and that's okay. So this is kind of how we're going to think about standing throughout the practice, and you can have your hands to the side or practice floating them in front of you. And from this structure, you can do the sung exercise again, where you feel like you picture that some of the energy is melting down off of you. This is a great practice on its own. They call it standing work. You can just stand here and meditate like this, trying to relax more and more and feel more ease in your body. You can do this 5, 10, 15 minutes at a time. It's a complete practice in itself, and is actually quite challenging to maintain the alignment, but you can really feel the energy when you do. For breath, we're going to be breathing through our noses throughout the entirety of the practice, and you are going to be matching each movement with an inhale or exhale. If breathing through your nose is entirely uncomfortable, restrained, or somehow difficult, it's okay to breathe through your mouth or to alternate either. But if you're in good health and able, it's good to try to focus the breathing through the nose. The last bit is consciousness. And this is a little bit more difficult. I'll try to be cueing some visualizations throughout the practice. You don't have to participate in the visualizations, but it works a little bit better if you do. Traditional Qigong uses a lot of visualizations from the forces of nature, a lot of visualizing, pulling energy up from the earth, circulating into the body, or pulling it down from the heavens, and trying to balance the forces in this way. So it can be very cool, very impactful to work with these visualizations. but it is not necessary. The physical practice is complete on its own, but when you add that second layer of visualization, it really takes it to the next level. So we're also going to be always maintaining a look on our face of cheerful indifference. You want to make sure that this is a playful practice. It's supposed to be done with ease and joy. This isn't some chore. It's not incredibly difficult, and at no point will there be any level of strain. So you want to not take it too seriously. You don't want to be grinning foolishly either, but keep just a relaxed, calm, cheerful indifference on your face, and it's important for more than just the positive thinking aspect of it. It's actually relaxation in your face, especially when you're learning something new and the tendency is to kind of focus and furrow the brow. You want to make sure here that you're keeping a relaxed face throughout. This is best done outside and barefoot, so you can really ground into the energies of the earth, but that's not necessary. You can see I'm in my apartment here. It's winter in Wisconsin, so it's tricky to do outside. So that's pretty much it. That's the basics. These are the things that you want to be thinking about. You want to be always sinking and relaxing. You want to be linking your breath to the movements. You want to be moving slowly. And really you want to be mirroring what I'm doing throughout the exercises, and we'll get into that in a few minutes here as well. So like I said, there's about 8 different exercises. They can be done, traditionally done in sets of 3, 6, or 9. We're gonna do sets of 6 here. 3 I find isn't quite enough. 9 takes a little bit longer, obviously. So before we get started in the exercise, we are going to do a few quick warm-ups. This is not an incredibly, like I said, exertive practice, so we don't need to do too much, but it is good to kind of get the energy going. So the first warm-up is called Tapping the Gates of Life, and this is a simple warm-up. You're going to stand in that open position that we talked about and bring the hands to rest in front of you. Now, starting at the hips, you can just start to rock your hips back and forth and let your arms swing out to the sides. Now start to increase the speed and intensity of the swing and let the arms just kind of thwap at your sides. You don't want to be using the arms, just the force of your waist propelling them. And you can move up, you can move down a little bit. This feels really good to let the arms just hang limp, and it really kind of starts to activate the chi networks in the body. And this is one thing I failed to mention. I guess it's Qi Gong, and we're working with Qi, which is the Chinese word or concept for the life force energy that surrounds us, penetrates us, and binds us. And Qigong is the practice by which we can cultivate, enhance, and really take advantage of the Qi that we have. So this is kind of starting to wake up the Qi in some of the main centers. This center in the middle here is called the Dantian, and that's the primary storehouse for the Qi. So this starts to awaken the sleeping Qi that is present in your Dantian, and it just feels good. I love this exercise. So start to slow down and come to a pause again at your side. And just take a minute and sink back into that posture. Think of your head, check in. Is your face relaxed? Is your spine held? Is your tailbone tucked? And are your hands inflated with ease? Take a deep breath together. And exhale. Next, we're going to do a few minutes of just shaking. We may not even get to a few minutes, but I just want to demonstrate the technique. This is an incredible warm-up for just really getting everything going. It's the only thing that might be slightly challenging. I like to do it for 10 minutes if possible. We're not going to do that much here. We're just going to do a few minutes to get started. And yeah, so shaking is kind of as it sounds. You just shake your entire body, and it's up to you how intense you want to get with it. You can really lose yourself in this practice. Remember, here we're just doing it as a warm-up, so no need to really go hog wild. So begin by kind of leaning forward onto the balls of your feet and kind of just slowly bouncing from your ankles. You can let your arms hang loose at your side, and again, think of your body, your muscles is just kind of relaxing off of you, not using any tension, and just relaxing, melting down into the practice. You can start to shake your hands. You can start to bounce a little faster. Start to bounce higher. Keep breathing through this practice. Deep breaths, always deep breaths. I like to really go at it with my hands and kind of shake those out. That just feels good to me. I work on a desk a lot, so stretching out the fingers, really rolling through the hands, and kind of kicking out the feet. Keep breathing, keep shaking. One more deep breath. Good, now start to come to stillness. Bring your feet back together. Slow the shaking. Begin to come back down onto your heels. Come to stillness. And again, take a deep breath in together, in through the nose. Out through the mouth. Our next warm-up is a really simple way to actually feel kind of the force of chi. This is the last warm-up that we're going to do, and then we're going to get into the practice. This is just called warming of the hands, and it's a standard exercise used a lot before massage and things like this. We're going to just bring our hands together, again maintaining that posture, that slight bend to the knees, erect spine, and slight chin tuck. We're going to start rubbing our hands together kind of pretty fast, enough till you start to feel the heat. Just keep rubbing them. We're going to do this for a few minutes here. Not a few minutes, excuse me, a few moments. But you're welcome to do it for as long as feels comfortable. There's no upper limit on a lot of this stuff. So now after you really got a good bunch of heat going, we're going to stop and slowly expand our hands. Now feel for a tingle in between your hands and listen as you kind of let them repel from each other. It's almost like two magnets. So come to a stop and slowly feel in between your hands. If you don't feel it, that's okay. It comes with practice, and the more you practice this, the more subtle your energy systems become, the more you become aware of them, and the more you're able to kind of tap into it. So this is kind of the chi ball, they call it, and it's used in other Tai Chi moves. We're not going to deal much with it here in this Qigong form, but it is something that's a lot of fun to work with. Awesome. So we're going to get started with the practice. There's eight different exercises. I'm going to do one in the beginning. I'll demonstrate it, and then we will do the other 5 reps together. Now, this practice is done with your eyes open. It's originally, a lot of these moves have martial applications, so this is eyes open, one with the world, and you want to be mirroring my movements as best you can. Especially in the beginning, you're going to want to go fast. You're going to see what's coming next because they're simple moves, and you're going to want to get there. Part of the practice is in that slowing down. There's no rushing. Nature doesn't rush, and everything is accomplished. This is how you want to approach your Qigong practice. The other thing is, especially if you're keen on the visualizations, you want to be allowing the movement to come from the chi moving through your form instead of the musculature. And this is kind of hard to pin down at first. In the beginning, you're going to be, yeah, I'm using my muscles, obviously. And you are, because you're moving yourself. But if you're focusing your intention on the life energy that's actually motivating those muscles, that's Qigong. So this first exercise is called pressing up the heavens with two hands. Actually, first, we're going to take a few minutes together to settle back in. Just a few minutes of standing meditation before we get into the exercises. So come to a closed position. You can either have your hands out in front of you or on your stomach. I like to have them on my stomach in the beginning here. So you can close your eyes for this. We'll all just come together. And again, let your body relax. Use the minimal amount of force to keep yourself standing. Let's all take a deep breath together in through the nose. Hold at the top. And then exhale slowly through the mouth. If your hands are in your stomach, bring them down now to your sides. Now the proper way to do this is we're going to open. We're going to open to open pose here. And if you just step, that's level one. Level two, I'll just say right away because it's helpful as you open and close throughout any of the practices, is you want to put all of your weight into your right leg and foot. So your left really just swings free. You can see all the weight. I still have stability. So now that all the weight is in the right, you're going to picture that chi coming up through the leg and pouring it down into the other leg. So as this looks, you really just kind of open to the side, but internally, you know where that energy is coming from, stored in the bottom of that leg, and coming and opening the form. So enough of that for now. Just get to open posture however you can, and have your hands begin to float slightly at your side. So again, open posture is a little about hips width distance, maybe a little more or a little less, depending on your frame. I like to go pretty much even, maybe a little bit more. So for this exercise, pressing up the heavens with two hands, bring your hands together in front of you on your lap. Bring your hands together like this. Now we're gonna bend forward, but I want to step and show it from the side because it's a real light bend at the hip. Really, it's just kind of the opposite of that tailbone flex that we were doing. This isn't like you don't have to come forward, kind of like you're doing a row or something like that. It's really just a slight lean forward. The point of the lean forward is actually to generate force as we stand up that will allow our hands to effortlessly rise. So come back to the beginning here, and we're gonna stand with our feet apart, once again, hip distance, and lean forward. Now, as you begin to stand up, begin to allow your hands to rise. Slowly, using your internal force as much as you can. And when your hands begin to get to about the height of your face, you're going to begin to rotate the hands and then press them above. So it looks like this. The hands will come up. I'm speeding it up a little bit here for demonstration. And as the hands come, they rotate and then press to the sky. So that's going to be our inhale. And then once we're at the top, you don't have to do it quite like a circular breath, but you don't want to hold at the top for too long either. Just a comfortable pause, and then begin your exhale. By bringing the hands down in front of you. And now this whole time, again, you want to be sinking, allowing the hands to fall. Relaxing the wrists, relaxing the hands. And we're going a little bit faster here for demonstration than we will during the actual exercise. So if we were to speed it up a little bit, you lean forward, tip back, hands come up, press to the sky. Awesome. So we're gonna do let's do 6 because that was the warm up. So we'll do it that way. So again, come together, bring your hands at your waist, and now I'm gonna be mostly silent for this. But again, keep your hands open. You can watch me. You should be trying to mirror as I go. Remember to link your breaths. Inhale as your hands are rising. Slight pause at the top. And begin your exhale. The breath should be effortless. No strained exhalation or undue holding. Check in with your posture. Is your face relaxed? Is your chin tucked? Your knees bent? Where is your center of gravity? Gaze at the top. Tilt your head back slightly. Together. Stand up straight. We're going to bring our feet together slightly and close. And while you're closing, really feel the energy sink. You can maybe start to feel it vibrating in your muscles, and really just bring it back down. And if you're keen to the visualizations, you can visualize a storehouse for it in your kind of behind your belly. This is the dantian. Bring the energy back down. Take a brief pause and a breath together. Our next exercise is called drawing the bow and letting the arrow fly. This is my favorite one. It's probably the most challenging one. I'll demonstrate, and then again we'll do the set together. So again, you're going to want to start by opening, but this time we're going to get down into that horse stance. Now, the key to remember here is that everything that we talked about earlier still applies in the horse stance. So your head, your tailbone. The tailbone's a hard one to forget, and you want to, especially in horse stance, it's easy to kind of come forward. You want to make sure again to just rotate it forward into your horse stance. So just a quick demo of what it's going to look like is bringing our hands and wrists together, squatting down and drawing the arrow back, like as if you're going to shoot a bow. Then you come back up. We're not going to bring the feet back together for it. There is a way to practice this where you can, where you're opening and closing in between each one, but kind of for introduction here, we're just going to be coming in and out of it with our hands, with our feet maintaining planted. So there's a lot of things to remember here, so I'm going to walk through it. Now in our horse stance, on our in-breath, we're going to gather our wrists up and just kind of match them in front of your face here. Now, your right hand is holding like this, like you're holding a bow, and your left hand makes kind of like an L, like a target, like that. Now, when you squat down, you're going to feel this in your forearm here on the bottom side as you bring it up. This might be too much for some people, so however you can go comfortably, make an aim here. And our gaze is going to be important in this one. This is where you can kind of let the cheerful indifference slide a little bit and bring a little bit more intensity to your gaze as you look out and focus beyond the tip of your finger. Now, as you do this, you're going to be squatting down into your horse stance, and you get to the bottom. You see some of the masters, they can go, I mean, I can get down pretty far, but I can't do that consistently. So I'll usually maybe stay down about here for this one, but go down as far as is comfortable for you. And then on your in-breath, that's going to be the out-breath, and in-breath we're going to bring it back together. So how it's going to look is and I forgot to mention, when you get to the bottom, you're actually going to release the string. Don't just come back into it. Like, imagine the bow and you release it like that. You got to let the string fly. So this, like a few others, we're going to have to do on both sides, as you kind of saw. So we're going to switch back to back. So this one's going to do 12, but so we're going to kind of, like 1, 2. You can choose to do it either way that you like, but we're gonna go each side. So great, drawing the bow and letting the arrows fly. Now again, please try to follow me, match my speed as best you can. Actually, we'll start, from our more closed position. Open to horse stance. Get to a position that you can sink down from, and tuck the tailbone right here. This is a good time to check in with that. Now on the inhale, bring your arms together. And on the exhale, squat down and draw the bow. If this is difficult, you can always shorten your stance. Don't have to go down quite so low. I'll show a little bit modified version here. You can also, just ever so slightly, come together and close. And check in again for a minute. That one, sometimes you need to rest on in between. I like to kind of push it on that one. This is an easy, relaxing practice, but there's a few moments like that where you can kind of squat down and add some intensity to it, should you choose. The next practice is called Separate the Heavens and Earth. This is a great stretch for your arms. It's good for balance. It's one of the more complicated ones to perform. I'm going to try my best to walk you through it. It's not so complicated, it looks kind of weird, so it's kind of hard to cue. So for this one, we're going to start in open pose, And the best way I think to start it is to bring your hands up to about your armpit level, and face one of them up and leave one of them facing down, because what we're gonna do is I'll show you how it looks here as we're going. You're gonna start this way, and then one hand presses to the sky and the other hand presses down, and then you kind of circle your hands, and then you flip them, and that's kind of what one rep looks like. So just to start it off again, so it's kind of the opposite of our close here. We're gonna open with our hands, and once they get to our armpit level, one of them is gonna switch up. I start with your right hand and press your right hand to the sky while you press your left hand down. And this is a challenging one. You're gonna feel a stretch in your bicep and middle arm here. And while you're performing this, make sure that again, your tailbone is tucked forward and face is relaxed and spine held straight. So this is the pressing forward. Now I'm pausing here. You're not gonna be doing this during the exercise. And as you bring them down, you want to actually be looking at your hand coming down, and then switch your gaze when it gets to, again, about armpit height. That's where we're going to bring the hands back in, and now we're pressing the left hand to the sky and the right hand down. I'm going to walk through that one more time. We're going to bring the hands up, flip the right hand up, push it towards the sky while pushing the left hand down. Begin to descend the right hand while tracking it with your eyes until armpit height. Switch your view, bring the hands back to armpit level, and then press the left hand to the sky. Okay, that's it. We're gonna do a few of those together now. Again, try to watch me. It's okay if you're gonna be a little kind of noodly and not necessarily follow it. Just try your best. It's more about the intention than the act of the doing it perfectly. And this is actually a very simplified version than what I was taught, which was much more complicated. So this is about as simple as I've been able to drill it down. Okay, so we'll stand back together in open posture, and again come back to silence and stillness. Now effortlessly raise your hands to armpit level. Flip the right hand up and begin to press towards the sky. Again, matching your breaths. Inhale. Exhale. This is one where it's very important to keep track of how your wrists and fingers are doing. It can be easy to introduce some tightness. So be sure to relax them. Keep them straight. You don't want to be pushing them down. And again, just a comfortable pause at the top, no need to hold. And now at close, we're going to bring our hands back to armpit height and then down with the closing posture in front of us. Pause for a moment. This next exercise is called Wise Owl Gazes Backwards. This one is exercise for the neck and eyes to strengthen your gaze, help teach you to relax the shoulders, and introduce range of motion to the neck. It's a great exercise. It feels simple. You are going to be kind of, I don't want to say pushing to your extremes, but you're going to want to go, you're going to turn your head as far as you can, really kind of, don't push it, but go to your maximum range of motion in both your eyes and your neck when we, well, I shouldn't, I guess, ever suggest you go to your maximum range of motion for your neck, but just whatever your body will calmly allow for, go that far. Don't stress, but you really want to get a good rotation. Okay, come back to the closed posture together. Settle in. An open to open posture. Now we're going to inhale and squat down slightly, much less of a squat than we did for the draw the bow. And we're going to turn our heads as far as we can to the right. Now, when you reach your maximum comfortable distance with the head turn, then continue to look with your eyes back as far as you can to the right. So we're going to end up and rotate your wrists forward. So we'll end up in a position kind of like this. And we're not going to hold it. We're actually going to be fluidly moving back to center on the inhale and then to the other side again on the exhale. So it's going to look like this. So we're going to be inhaling on the way back to center and exhaling to each direction. Now we'll do it together. Again, spend a minute to square into your presence. Relax the hands, tuck the tailbone, balloon fingers, wise owl, gazes backwards. I'll come back to the middle, close. Bring the hands down with an exhale. This next exercise is called touching the toes, then bending backwards. And it's about what you would sound like. The point of this one is, we're really going to go slow with, and you're really going to want to feel each moment. So touching the toes, then bending backwards. We are going to start in our standing position, and this we could take more of a full bend at the waist until our hands come to the ground. Now, with our hands at the ground, we're going to circle our hands together and then bring them up, gently tracing our front line. This is a meridian line. You're going to have your hands actually on your legs until you get to about waist height. When you get to about waist height, you're going to float your hands off, float them up to the sky, introduce a slight bend in your back, and then bring your hands down in front of you. Actually, excuse me, we're gonna bring our hands down and then bring them to the back and place them kind of where your kidneys are. And then you actually trace down your butt, down the back of your legs in the same manner. So here, the visualization is when we're at the base, you want to be swirling your hands together, gathering any energy that you need from the earth.
what you visualize the earth to be. You can swirl it together with your fingers and then introduce it into the body and guide it up through the channels. And as your body fills up with earth energy, your hands raise off and up to the cosmos. Now, while you're up here stretching and holding for a beat, you can picture and visualize anything you need from the celestial realm to power your hands to enter your body. And bring your hands down and invite that energy into yourself through the back, and you can see how we can begin to move through it. So that's a good visualization to do. I'll remind you of that a few times throughout. Don't bend back too far. Be careful. You really just want to bend back enough to kind of just feel it a little bit. This one can get you can get a little lightheaded with this one. I missed one in the order that I usually do them. That's okay. We're doing these a little out of order, but I was going to say I forgot about the bear. We had the owl. Where's the bear? Anyways, we're going to continue forward with this one. So I'm going to bring it together now. That one's pretty self-explanatory. That's pretty easy. So we can just get started here again from a closed position. Find a moment of stillness before you begin your practice. Come to an open posture. Bend forward slightly. Bend and hinge forward at the hips. You really on this one. You actually really do want to hinge forward. This is not like a little bend. This is a real, like you're going to be doing a row or a deadlift. You want to be using that. And again, until you're comfortable, maximum, and then you can kind of fold forward over it. So, okay, again, come to stillness. And as you inhale, bring your hands down along the back channel. And let your hands and neck hang heavy in a forward fold. Visualize the earth energy building in your fingers and bring it into your body as you begin to roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Slowly rising. When your hands reach waist level, begin to float them in front of you. And don't leave your wrists limp like I'm doing. You want to still be like you're holding the balloon. So holding the balloon, raise your hands up. Gaze to the sky and picture the celestial energy entering you. Now again, bring your hands down similar to some of the other exercises. Slowly, controlled, with effortless ease. And bring them back to your lower back. I'm just going to move through a few of these with you. And again, remember to inhale and exhale as you move. I like to inhale my way up. And exhale my way down. And if you don't have very good lung capacity, it may be difficult to match this one up. It's a pretty long movement. That's okay. Do the best you can. Really focus on the breathing in this one. You can really get into a groove and it feels very good. But don't push it too far because you definitely don't want to pass out. But if you're doing it with effortless ease, like we've been talking about, there's no real risk with that. It can, if you're like me, it can be easy to get carried away because it feels like, well, this feels good. If I do it, harder, it'll feel even better. But it's not the case. If anything, you do it slower. When it comes to Qigong. Alright, this is going to be our final one. I know my counts are all over the place. I haven't quite gotten the hang of that. We're just introducing these practices. It's going to be impossible to get them right from one workshop. This is a lifetime of practice for Qigong. This is just an introduction. So now we're going to do big bear turns to the side. And I forgot about this. I really like this one. It's a really good stretch.
This is another one where we're going to be introducing a little bit of fire energy. If you breathe a little bit heavier in this one, and again, you want to keep it under control, because you can, if you get swinging too far, we can get kind of lightheaded. So for this one, we'll show you what it looks like. We're going to be in a deeper horse stance, like really. You know, for our other ones, we were kind of like, let's really challenge yourself to get deep for this one, or whatever a comfortable stretch is going to be. You want to be able to feel the stretch, but you don't want to be putting yourself in any danger. You don't want to tip over. Make sure first and foremost that you have a firm center of gravity and you can support yourself in a position like this. So once you have some stability established, we are going to be rocking and stretching like this. So that to start the movement, you kind of want to just bring your left shoulder down and then your head down to follow it. And then we swing around to the other side, motivated by the hips, starting with the hips, till we're then in the reverse posture on the other side, and then bring it up to the middle. And we're again cueing our breath here, so it's going to look something like, excuse me, let me reset. And then you switch sides. So you can kind of do one breath per side. Once again, we're gonna okay, so we're gonna do a couple of these together. Drink water. Okay, big bear turn side to side. Okay, we're gonna do them together. Get down into your horse stance. But a lot of you might know this. I forget what this is. The goddess, I think, in warrior in yoga, it's the same position. So get down into your squat, and then we're gonna breathe in and roll to the right. Exhale and reverse sides. Feel a nice stretch in your kind of low back on this one, and a little bit of fire into your quads. And I like to take kind of bigger sweeping breaths with this one. It's not necessarily or even recommended, but it feels good. Sorry about that. My device stopped recording, and there was really no indication that it did. So there's going to be a little edit here. I think I was in the middle of Big Bear bends, Big Bear turns side to side. So we're just gonna jump back into that and close that one up. So we're gonna squat back down. Okay, then we'll close by coming together. Bring the hands back down to a comfortable rest in front of you. This next exercise is called punching with an angry gaze. This is another squatting exercise. We're going to be, I'll just do a quick demo of it. I mean, you're going to be punching, squatting down, punching forward, squatting down, punching forward with an angry gaze in front of you. And with that, it just means a little bit, let the cheerful indifference kind of harden a little bit, and look out in front of you with a little bit of intensity, calling on some of your fire here. So to start with this one, we're going to come again to our open posture and breathe, inhale with our hands to our sides, fists clenched lightly. I mean, you're going to make a fist here, but you don't want it to be completely squeezing, and face them up. Then as you stand up, the wrist comes up and we squat down, comes back to the center. Stand up, you switch wrists, come to a straight stand, wrist out in front of you, squat down to bring it back. And we're gonna match breath each one, so we inhale. Okay, so that one's pretty simple. We're gonna now do it all together. Come to a comfortable closed position and take a moment to check in. Come to an open posture. Breathe your hands to your waist, wrists facing up. Gentle fist. Now breathe out as you punch forward with your left hand, and then squat down as you breathe in, retracting the hand. Now alternate. Now this is one you can do a lot more than 12 of. This is actually really good training just for your quadriceps, just to build strength and balance. This is a good kind of preliminary exercise to do along with the standing that we looked at earlier, to just kind of strengthen yourself for some of these other practices. So we're gonna just do a few more here. 1, 2, 3, and then come to close. Again, bringing the hands up, feeling the energy, allowing it to settle. We're working up a lot of energy, but then we want it to settle, calm. Find rest, store it in your dantian where you can use it later. This final exercise is called shaking the body, and this is very similar to what we did for touching toes and then bending backwards. And we're gonna start again just kind of from a standing position here, and for this one you bend forward again until you kind of reach a comfortable angle. Bring your hands back down into this kind of yoga ragdoll pose. Now this time we're gonna slowly inhale up vertebrae by vertebrae, the same way as with our other exercise, but instead of reaching our hands off of our waist, we're gonna bring our shoulders back and kind of crane our neck backwards slightly to introduce kind of a curve. And we're gonna finish our breath there, and then as we come forward and straighten out, we're gonna do a little hop at the top, and then allow all of our body just to kind of jiggle and shake off of the tree that is your skeleton. Okay, let's do it together. Start in your open posture, hands gently at your sides, bending forward, releasing down, trace the front line again as you stand up straight. Reach back, finish your inhale, and as you exhale, come forward and hop at the top, letting the body shake out and settle. And you can take your time with this one, settle in for each portion of it. By now, the energy in your body is probably circulating. You're probably feeling it, so it can be good here to take a little bit of time and just appreciate it after the little shake. We're actually only going to do one more of these, just to finish this up. Finish your inhale, come to the top, shake out with an exhale. Bring your awareness back to your body. Close your posture. Place your hand over your stomach. We're going to rest here for a few moments together in this standing meditation posture. Check in with your body. How do you feel? How do you feel different from the beginning of the practice? Listen for any signals you might receive, or else just sit and enjoy the calmness we've worked through together. Now together we'll close. And as your hands come together, make a fist with your left hand and put it into the palm of your outstretched right hand in front of your heart space. We are signifying choosing peace over violence in ourselves and with others. Take a deep breath in with me together. And exhale. Bowing forward, Thank you for practicing with me.